Welcome to another edition of the Daily Night. I'm your host, Brian Smith, and today's edition is a little bit surprising and, quite frankly, a little startling. UCF just lost Jaylon Robinson to the transfer portal, and the athletic wide receiver is going to be departing right after the spring game. Nobody saw that coming, but at the same time, welcome to the transfer portal era. My guess is he had this in the works for quite a while, and he might as well go through spring to make evaluations, etc. But I'll get into that in just a minute. First off, I want to talk about the aftermath for UCF, and then I'll go back around and discuss what I think really transpired with Jaylon. It's pretty opinionated, and I really don't care who I tick off. It just is what it is. First off, we're talking about a situation where you can't just replace his speed and his playmaking ability. He's a fantastic football player. Whether you're mad, angry, anywhere in between that and happy and sad, I don't care which, he's a good football player. I know some UCF fans are probably going to trash him on social media and some will just dismiss him, etc. Fair enough, but that's not how football works. It's still about really good players making plays. So what can UCF do to offset Robinson's departure? Number one, I think that with the talent that came in, Kobe Hudson for one, Jalen Griffin emerging for two, there are different options they can do. I already said in prior articles on Inside the Knights, Hudson could play the slot. He could play to the field where Jalen normally plays, and he could also be the boundary. He was my projected starter from the time he enrolled. That being stated, now maybe you play Jalen at boundary, you play Hudson to the other side, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. You also have to remember that Keymore Gamble comes in from Florida as a fifth-year senior from the Gators, very athletic tight end, and he is a flex tight end that can play inline, meaning traditional tight end block, be straight up attached to the offensive tackle. And that's a player that'll probably see more passes. Further, he'll probably play some in the slot or out wide. In the red zone, he might play out wide and throw fades. You just diversify how you throw the football, when you throw it, formations, etc. They might use Keymore a little bit more in H-back situations to try to get him on a linebacker just to create more mismatches in space. It increases the opportunity for the guys that want to show themselves for the National Football League draft. Ironically, that's about a week or so away. And now these guys are getting a chance to look at that from a little bit different perspective because Jaylon was going to catch 40, 50 balls conservatively this year. Reality. All those are gone. Ryan O'Keefe, Kobe, all these different guys have a chance. But the guy that doesn't get talked about, myself included, and he had a really good spring game, is Amari Johnson. I think he will benefit the most out of this because he's a slot, smaller guy. O'Keefe might bounce outside, and they might put him in the slot sometimes. Maybe he starts there. I don't know. Depends on the opponent. He's a playmaker as well. He's really, really quick and really, really fast. Amari Johnson's a senior. And the way he handled himself at the press conference after the UCF spring game showed me that he's not only a good football player and understands the game, he's a team football player. Considering Jaylon's decision, and again, I'll get to this in a second, I think that's very important to note. When you have guys that are bought into a program, it doesn't matter the level, it will behoove everyone to keep that player in the loop, keep him happy, work with him, maybe learn from him, etc. If you haven't seen Amari Johnson's press conference, check it out on UCF Athletics. I've got a few clips in some of the stuff on my site, but make sure you check it out. He's a mature young man, and he's earned his way to get on the field. Now, here is where the semantics begin in regards to formations and all that. We've been talking for a while at Inside the Knights, as well as other places, that UCF is flat out loaded at running back. That has not changed. What's unique about UCF's running back core? Several of these young men can catch. Even somebody like Mark Anthony Richards, that's a guy that can catch. He's 215, 220 pounds. You're going to throw maybe a couple more screens to him. Maybe he even winds up in the slot at that size. But I'll bet you money, Johnny Richardson, yeah, he's going to be in the slot more. Yeah, I also think that RJ Harvey, once he's back, he's a shifty, speedy guy too. Same kind of deal. They're going to put him out wide. And again, there's a variety of ways you can do it formationally. You might just line up both of those young men in the backfield and or with Bowser and or with Gamble at the H-back or on the other side in a running back position, running screens and doing different things. UCF is in a very advantageous situation. Most importantly to note about this, it can change week to week. That means the team that you're getting ready to play, let's say they're getting ready to play SMU, a very quality football team. They've seen 3 weeks of film. It's kind of a norm. You'll go through all the film, but the last 2 or 3 weeks is what you really look at when you go into a game. If UCF changes every week how they utilize Johnny or Isaiah or Kobe, fill in the blank with whatever player that you would like, or all of them, it makes it much more difficult to stop the UCF offense. It's just that simple. You can only project so much, and eventually it becomes guessing. UCF skill talent is SEC level, especially at the starter position when you add in Gamble at tight end. He was the missing link because he is a guy that can stretch the field down the seam. And when you can do that and keep safeties in instead of just jumping to the perimeter against a guy like O'Keefe or Hudson, etc., that makes it really difficult. Plus, that also opens up the screen game and the quarterback getting outside the pocket and getting to the perimeter. UCF will be a nightmare even on plays where John Rice Plumlee takes off. And yes, I'm projecting him to start. Prove me wrong. If they can keep some of these key guys healthy, and of course last year was bad luck, so usually it flips the other direction the following season, UCF's offense is still going to be a nightmare for the opponents they have with or without Jaylon Robinson. To that, here's my thought process on Jaylon. I don't know him beyond a few times that I've communicated with him at a press conference, etc. But I do know some of the things that are going on in NIL and all the backdoor stuff. Nobody's going to convince me that somebody didn't offer him something to do this after spring ball. Not believing it. That's just me. I have zero inside information on that. With that being stated, if he got offered money to go to school X, wherever that may be, more power to him. But like with a lot of other kids that I talk to at the high school ranks that are coming up, I tell them very simply the following. Be careful for what you wish, because there are people that will come see you that you do not want to meet. If there's any tomfoolery, any shenanigans going on, and it eventually gets caught, and somebody will eventually, it's just a matter of who and when. Entities like IRS and FBI could be involved because boosters that have this money that is exchanged, they can tax you on anything. That is going to happen. It's a matter of when, not if. It will happen. Mark it down. Is Jaylon one of them? I don't know. But like the Jamar Gibbs kid that just suddenly transferred to Alabama? Right. So let's see where he goes. Number one, how quickly, and if there's a circumstance involved that's illegal. I mean, I have no idea, but I'm speculating that it's not on the up and up. It's just my opinion. And I quite frankly have no concern about saying it, because cheating in college football is like the sun coming up. It happens every day. It's just a matter of if. Now, if he completely did this on his own, prove it to me, but I don't know how that could be done. So again, it's just my speculation. At the end of the day, UCF lost a heck of a football player. I just don't like the nature of it going all the way through spring and then just suddenly announcing this out of the blue. It's really random. I don't think it's a good look for him, and obviously it leaves UCF in an awkward spot in some ways. But they do have options, and we'll see how it goes. But anyway, I'm going to sign off here. But if you have anything you're curious about, make sure you check out Inside the Knights. I've got an article about Jaylon's departure, and ironically, they just got a commitment a few minutes ago from one of the top tight ends in Dixie. It's a big-time player. It's just so ironic. They get a great athlete when one leaves. Connor is a guy, it's committed. He's from North Carolina. Make sure you check it out on Inside the Knights. Very, very good prospect. Everybody have a great night. Thank you very much.